Ubisoft, throughout Siege's 9 years of development, has introduced a lot of new maps and reworks into the game. This has allowed the game's map pool to evolve drastically, and because of that, today I'll be ranking every single map in Siege from worst to best. I'll be starting by going through the 8 casual maps in the game right now and ranking them purely on how fun they are, not their competitiveness. I'll try to be as quick as possible with those because they aren't nearly as important. And then we'll move on to the ranked ones, where I'll go a little more in depth and I'll discuss whether or not they're competitively sound. The casual maps will be from numbers 24 to 17. Then ranked maps will begin at 16, because obviously casual maps are worse than the ranked ones. Keep in mind, this entire video is obviously my opinion. There's no objective ranking, and your list will likely be different from mine. So don't take this video as me attacking someone's opinion for liking a certain map, or as me pretending that my opinion is objective. It's absolutely not. I'm just making this video for entertainment purposes, and I hope you all enjoy. Anyways, now I've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, coming in at the 24th spot, the worst map in Rainbow Six Siege is Tower. The reason why Tower is such a flawed map is because for the attackers, it's basically impossible for you to enter the building. All of the attackers spawn on the roof, and the only way for the attackers to get into the building is to either rappel down the sides of the building and then rappel through a window, or to drop down the elevator. Both of these leave the attackers extremely vulnerable, and it makes it very hard for them to get anywhere. Overall, for a casual map, this is just not fun to play because it just results in the defenders absolutely waltzing through the attacker. There is a lot of potential on this map for fun due to the fact that you can do a lot of meme strats on it, but overall I still think it's the worst map in the game to play by far. And moving on to the 23rd spot, we have Plane. Now, Plane is making it on this list for one main reason, and that is the fact that Quick Match no longer has spawn peaks anymore, and Plane was extremely fun for that purpose. On Plane, you could break out the barricades at the top of the staircases leading into it, and you could then run out as a defender and either nitro cell the attackers as they come up the staircase, or you could just take gunfights with them. This made it an extremely fun map to play, and it has offered a lot of iconic moments. Also, the fact that this map allows Glaz and Callie to sit outside and snipe you inside of the map is pretty fun as well, because it offers an interesting gameplay style that isn't really present in other maps. However, like I said, since they removed the ability to spawn peek on this map, it's not nearly as fun as it used to be, in my opinion, and it gets very stale very quickly, and so for that reason, it's going to be going really low on this list. Now, coming in at the 22nd spot, we have Yacht. Yacht is simply going this low on this list because of the fact that it has a ridiculous amount of ambient noise. This map has super loud AC units that makes it basically impossible to hear anywhere on the map. This makes it extremely annoying to play in casual because you can barely hear anything that's going on. Now, the map layout itself isn't necessarily a huge issue for casual, and I do enjoy it in casual due to its unique gameplay style, but with the map having so much ambient noise, it has to go pretty low on this list because it's just annoying to play. Moving on to the 21st spot, we have Fortress, and Fortress is going on this list because of the fact that it's basically just a maze. This map is absolutely huge, and every single room looks exactly the same, which is why this map never got off the ground in ranked. This map has just never been fun to me in casual at all. It kind of feels like a failed ranked map, which is exactly what it is, and it doesn't really offer the unique experience that I enjoy from casual maps, and so for that reason, it's going to be going in the 21st spot. Now, moving on to the 20th spot, we have Hereford Base. Now, the Hereford Base we know today is not nearly as good as its predecessor in casual, at least, but I still think it's a overall pretty fun map. This map is a lot of fun because it offers a lot of possibilities for the defenders to actually fight the attackers outside via the runouts on balconies and also just from the windows throughout the round, which is something that I think is enjoyable in a casual map. And on top of that, I just like this map aesthetically. It's a really good looking map. However, the original Hereford Base was so much better in casual. I really wish it would come back, but due to the fact that we're talking about the rework here, I did have to put it a lot lower because it's just not nearly as good as it used to be. Now, moving on from Hereford Base, we have Stadium in the 19th spot. Now, I know this is going to surprise a lot of you considering that Stadium used to be a ranked map, but I genuinely despise this map, and I think it's way worse than the other two maps we're about to discuss in casual. The first reason why Stadium isn't fun to play is because it's basically just Border and Coastline, two maps that we play a ton in rank put together. And then to top it off, the map has a ridiculous amount of metal floors that basically makes it impossible to move anywhere without being heard. And then there's also the outside glass windows. So for that reason, it is going to be going in the 19th spot, but since it is two pretty good maps, Border and Coastline put together, I didn't think it was warranted putting it super low on this list. Now, moving past Stadium, we have Favilla in the 18th spot. Favilla used to be really fun in casual, and I think even after the rework, it is still a really fun map for casual. This map offers a lot of really cool power positions to hold as a defender in casual, like for example, the top trash chute stairs, and it also offers a lot of potential rush strategies for the attackers, which is also really fun in casual. And so it's going to be going in the 18th 13th spot in this video, basically making it the second best casual map in the game in my opinion. No move past Favilla in the 18th spot. We have House in the 17th spot. House, in my opinion, right now is the best casual map in the game, and it's not even close. Don't get me wrong, the reworked House is not nearly as good as the old House, but even after the rework, I still think House is extremely fun. Garage Wars is still somewhat possible. Also, there's still a lot of iconic spots like the tree house that's outside where the attackers can sit on it and just peek into half the map. I think that's really cool. And I think it's just by far the most iconic casual map in the game. The map is super imbalanced, which the old version was as well, which is why I think this map has always been really popular in casual. And so for that reason, it's going to be going in the 17th spot. Now moving past House in the 17th spot, we're now officially moving on to the ranked maps. And the first ranked map we're going to be discussing, because I consider it to be the worst map in the ranked pool, is Outback. Outback, in my opinion, is a horribly flawed mess. This map is extremely hard to attack, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the most defender-sided maps in this game. And because of how defender-sided it is, and because of the fact that it feels horrible to attack on almost every round you play, I had to put it at the lowest position on this list. I think even after its potential rework, none of its flaws were fixed, and it's still a really bad map. Now moving on to the 15th spot, we have a map that most of you will not be surprised by, and that is Lair. I know Lair is the new map in Siege, and I know people will say I'm putting it this low just because it's a new map, but genuinely this map is awful. And this is the first time in a long time that I've seen a lot of the community band together to say that Lair is a terrible map. First of all, the top floor objective on this map is extremely easy to defend. The defenders can basically hold the entirety of the top floor by just standing near the bomb site. The third floor is extremely small on the map, and that's why it makes the top floor bomb site so easy to hold, because it's really hard to get into as an attacker. This makes this map almost play out the same every single time. Normally the defenders will win the top floor bomb site, and then the basement bomb site they'll lose once or even twice, and then it'll switch sides. The map gets very stale very quickly because it plays out the same almost every time. Obviously this is going to be a subjective thing, but just me personally, I don't think Lair is that good of a map, and so I'm going to be putting it in the 15th spot. Moving on from Lair, we have a map that used to be one of my favorites, but has now fallen off in my eyes, which is Skyscraper. Skyscraper has a lot of flaws that, as I've played it more and more, has become more frustrating to me. First of all, Skyscraper is extremely run out prone even after the rework. It's extremely easy for the defenders to run out on you on almost every bomb site. And it also is extremely spawn peak heavy as well. This map promotes and even encourages aggression on the defense, which I think is horrible map design. Don't get me wrong, I understand why the defenders do this. If the attackers get and keep control of one of the balconies, you basically lose the round on Skyscraper, because the main difficulty of an attack on Skyscraper is getting map control. And so this map just feels absolutely awful to attack. And anytime you get in ranked on attack first, it always feels absolutely horrible. And so that for that reason, it's going to go in the 14th spot. Now moving past Skyscraper, we have a map that might be pretty controversial coming in at the 13th spot, and that is Border. I have never enjoyed Border for the same reasons I don't enjoy Skyscraper. And that is the fact that Border actively promotes and encourages the defense to get very aggressive on the attackers outside. This is because attacks on Border, once again, rely heavily on the attackers just getting into the building. Border is not a very big map, and a lot of attacks just revolve around the attackers getting control of like 3 or 4 rooms. And so because of that, the defense is very heavily rewarded for running out on the attackers and stopping them from getting that outside control. And so that way they can't push your team as easily. It gets repetitive very quickly, and it's just not fun to attack whatsoever. Now moving past Border, we have Cafe coming in at the 12th spot. And the reason why Cafe is here at this position is for the same reason that Border's in 13th. The Cafe is known around the community as one of the most spawn peak prone maps in the game. Almost every spawn is vulnerable to multiple spawn peaks, which makes it extremely hard to leave spawn because you have to be worried about multiple angles at once. This results in just frustrating gameplay from the attacker's perspective, and it can actually be really fun on the defense. But because of the fact that the attackers suffer so heavily because they have to deal with constant runouts, and because of the fact that it's just hard to get into the building in general on Cafe, I have to put this map low on this list. Now moving past Cafe in the 12th spot, we have Canal coming in at the 11th spot. Canal is very similar to the other maps I've mentioned on this list in the sense that it doesn't require a lot of map control for the attackers to win. This map is very small, and normally the attackers just have to take control of one specific area on the map or 2 specific areas on the map, and they can successfully execute on the bomb site and plant. However, Canal is a lot less spawn peak and run out heavy than maps like Cafe or Border or even Skyscraper, but it's still an extremely defender-sided map that can be pretty difficult to attack because of the fact that the map is so small. However, I will say this is one of my favorite maps to play defense on because of the fact that it offers so many different strategies and so many different ways to play the game. Overall though, I still think it's worth the 11th spot because of the fact fact that it's just horrible to attack on. In Moving Past Canal, we actually have a map that's kind of telling the opposite story of the previous couple maps, and that is Emerald. Emerald is an extremely attacker-sided map, at least in my experience. And the reason for this is because Emerald has a ton of windows that if the attackers take advantage of, they can basically cut off rotations from the defense across the entire map, which means that this map can be very easy for the attack if they know how to repel properly and they understand how to play the map, which in my opinion, I always prefer a map that's a little attacker-sided because it helps to mix up the gameplay significantly. And when past Emerald, we have Bank coming in at the 9th spot. Bank is another map that is extremely defender-sided, and it also suffers from a lot of the same symptoms that other maps in this list I've discussed suffer from, which is the fact that the attackers struggle to get map control on this map. However, I don't think this map is as annoying to attack as some of the other maps like Cafe, Canal, Border, or Skyscraper, but I do see why a lot of people might dislike it and would probably put it lower on this list. Now moving past Bank, we have a map that I think is extremely overhated, that being Consulate. Consulate, after the rework, solved most of the problems that I hated about the old Consulate. The old Consulate had a lot of the issues that I've discussed throughout this video, which is the fact that it was very defender-sided and it was extremely spawn peak and run out prone. Don't get me wrong, this map still has spawn peaks and it still has runouts, but the severity and the frequency of those runouts is not nearly as bad as it used to be on the old Consulate. However, I enjoy attacking Consulate way more than I do the other maps I just mentioned, and I think defensively this map is a lot more interesting to defend as well because it offers a lot of different strategies. And so for that reason, I think Consulate is one of the better maps when it pops up in the pool because at least you're getting something different. Now moving past Consulate, we have Nighthaven coming in at the 7th spot. Now the reason why Nighthaven is so high on this list is because Nighthaven, in my opinion, is just a slightly worse version of Clubhouse, and Clubhouse is one of my favorite maps in the game. The reason why I say Nighthaven is just a slightly worse version of Clubhouse is because this map is very hard breach heavy. Almost every bomb site on this map requires 2 or 3 reinforced walls to get open for the attackers to be able to execute on the site. However, once those walls are open, normally the attackers can pretty easily fold onto the bomb site. This is very similar to Clubhouse where the exact same thing is true. And so because of that unique gameplay style that Nighthaven has, I am going to be putting it in the 7th spot. Now moving past Nighthaven, we have Theme Park coming in at the number 6 spot, and this is another map that's actually quite hard breach heavy. And I've come to absolutely love Theme Park. The main reason I like Theme Park is because of how many different ways you can defend each bomb site, and out of the defensive sided maps that there are in this game, I think Theme Park still offers a lot of opportunities for the attackers to still win. So I couldn't put the map any higher on this list because it is pretty defender sided. But at the end of the day, I enjoy playing this map, and it's just one of the maps that me and my team personally enjoy making site setups for and stuff like that. And so for that reason, it's going to come in at the 6th spot. Now coming in at the number 5 spot, we have Villa. Villa is just a classic map overall. It's really fun to play, easy to understand, and it's one of the first maps that I normally introduce new players to because of how simple it is to understand. It also offers for some unique strategies as well, which also adds on to its fun factor. Overall though, this map's just going here because it's a solid pick overall. You can't really go wrong with it, and it's just a really easy to understand, fun map to play. Moving past Villa, in the number 5 spot, we have Oregon coming in at the number 4 spot for the exact same reason. It's an extremely easy to understand map. It's probably the most iconic map Siege has ever had. Most new players will learn this map first just because of its simplicity and because of how popular it is in the ranked pool. It's a really good map that has very few flaws. However, the one reason why it's not higher on this list is because I do think Oregon has a huge problem of getting very boring very quickly. Most defenses and most attacks play out very similarly. There's not a lot of variety in the ways you can set up the bomb sites on Oregon, and so because of the fact that Oregon suffers from a lack of replayability, I am going to be putting it lower on this list. Now moving past Oregon, in the 4th spot, we have Clubhouse coming in at the number 3 spot. Clubhouse is an extremely popular map for a lot of reasons. First off, it's another really iconic map of Siege. A lot of players who have barely touched Siege or just heard of Siege once or twice, they know about Clubhouse or Oregon. And that's because these maps are extremely popular in the community. And I personally really enjoy Clubhouse because of the fact that it's super hard breach reliant. Similar to Nighthaven, this map requires you to bring at least 2 hard breaches on every bomb site. And almost every bomb site on Clubhouse requires the defense to hold on to 1 or 2 important pieces of hard breach utility. And if they fail to hold on to that, then the attackers can end up executing onto the bomb site. I just overall really enjoy this map because it offers a unique gameplay style similar to what I discussed with Nighthaven. The map can get a little repetitive if you play it too much in ranked though. And so luckily for me, since I don't ban a lot of common maps, I don't end up playing this map too much to where I dislike it. Moving past Clubhouse, we have Coastline coming in at the number 2 spot. And Coastline is this high on this list simply for the fact that it's the most unique map in the game by far. This map is the only map in the game where you can get away with running no hard breachers ever. This makes the map really fun in my opinion, and it almost makes every single match you play on this map feel unique. And so for that reason, I put Coastline in the number 2 spot because like I said, it's one of the only maps in the game where you're not locked into specific operator choices. No Moon Pass coastline, we have Chalet in the #1 spot. I think Chalet is the best design map Ubisoft has ever released, and that's surprising considering it's a rework. But I think after the rework, I think Chalet is an absolute masterpiece. The reason for this is because Chalet has a ton of different ways to attack each bomb site, and because of the fact that there are a ton of different ways to defend each site. This kind of variety in the ways you can attack and also defend the bomb site offers a lot of ways for you to potentially mix up the gameplay on a round-to-round basis. I don't think any of you will be surprised by this ranking either, because I've always held this opinion. Anyways, that wraps up today's video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this list in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed today's video, I make siege content just like this twice a week, so go subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter if you don't want to miss the next upload. Also, I started a second channel where I upload not siege content, so if that's something you're interested in, I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check it out. If you want to watch another video just like this one, I'll be popping up on your screen right now that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Also, if you want to watch a video from my second channel I mentioned, a video from that channel will be popping up on your screen right now as well. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.